Chances are you're new to Terraform and you're just surfing the internet trying to find a basics Terraform video that can help you to get started. If that is you, welcome to Wayne's Tech&Life. My name is Wayne Tangwabayo and I'm an aspiring cloud engineer. In this video, I'll help you to explore the basics of Terraform, and with the help of hands-on demonstration, I'll show you how to create and manage resources in Azure using Terraform with just a run of a few lines of code. Why should you even consider using Terraform? Well, Terraform is a declarative tool. That is, it uses declarative syntax, and what that means is you define your state you want your infrastructure to look like, but Terraform will usually figure out the rest for you on how to deploy those resources in your cloud platform. Terraform code is reusable. That is, if you write a script of code in Terraform and you save it, don't have to rewrite the script of code ever again. As long as nothing changes, the Terraform code will usually implement the same infrastructure over and over again as long as nothing changes. Compatible to, that is, you're able to deploy resources in Azure, you're able to deploy resources in AWS, you're able to deploy resources in GCP and any other cloud platform that is compatible with Terraform. That being said, get into the hands-on part of the video. So for the hands-on, what you want to do is obviously make sure you have an IDE, something like a Visual Studio. That's what I personally use. So this is where you write your code for the Terraform. So what you will do now is you go into your IDE, then you're supposed to have a folder. So I do have a I already have a folder in this in my console already. So what I would do in my Terraform folder is I like to create separate files within my folder to make me understand better what exactly that I am working on. So what I would do is in my YouTube, so there's a plus sign that will tell you, if you hover over it, tell you new file. In this one call you new folder. And this one is refresh explorer, or you can collapse all the resources. You can collapse this toggle button. So what I like to do is I like to create a folder within a folder. So in this case, like right here, I'll go into new folder. Then in this new folder, I'll create a folder that I like to call Terraform manifest. So this simply is like a folder within a folder where I just like to store my resources. You don't have to do this, it's optional, but I just like to do it. So now within the Terraform manifest folder, I start creating my files. So the naming convention in Terraform is supposed to end with the .tf for the files to be recognized. So what I like to do is I like to have my main.tf, which is a file that I'll store most of the main code for my infrastructure. Then after main.tf, I go back into my manifest. Then I like to create another folder which I'll call versions.tf. So the versions.tf, this is the file that I'll include the providers which I mentioned earlier in the video, the providers which will help your code to actually implement to the specific resources that you're trying to create, be it Azure, be it AWS, or be it GCP. You're supposed to provide the providers block in your Terraform code. So after this, we ready to start coding. So what I then like to do is I will open my console, but you don't have to open your console now because we really don't need it until a little bit later on. So I'll go in my versions tf, because this is the first file that you want to create your code. You want to call in the providers to let Terraform know what resources are you trying to create. Are you trying to create resources in Azure? Are you trying to create resources in GCP? Where are you trying to create the resources at? So in this case, I'm trying to create resources in Azure. So I'll go to my versions.tf. So there is if you go to Terraform documentation, they will give you the basics on how you need, on what you need. So I'll show you an example right here. Right, so if we go over here and we hover over, if we say Azure RM Terraform, so Terraform will literally give you all the documentation what you need for you to be able to write your code. So if you go right here where it specifies documentation, browse Azure RM documentation, but in this case we need the Azure RM. So I'll try to make this bigger to see what I'm looking for. So if you go right here, then we go on our documentation right here. What is this? Switches, resource provider. Right here, so the use provider. So how to use this provider? So it will give you all the details on everything you need. So reading this documentation folder will help you a lot. So to install the bridge provider, copy and paste this code into Terraform configuration, then run Terraform init. So this will literally give you exactly from top to bottom what you need for your Terraform code to be able to run. But in this case, I don't like copying my code. I like to write it from the from the beginning. So if you go right here, if you're using a Windows, if you click Control and space, it will give you a pop out of all the resources that you can put right here. So in this case, we want our Terraform as we seen on our documentation. After the Terraform, we need, so again, if you click Control and space, it will show you what next that you can put. So these things, if you already know them, you can like literally just type them. Then right here we just go pick up our required providers. After the required providers, the next thing that we need is the required providers literally mentions what provider that we're using, and in this case we're using Azure RM. So we go ahead, type in Azure RM, then our Azure RM is equal to, then we open the curly braces again, then we make a space right here. So that's for the Azure RM. So this Azure RM, you're supposed to specify the source where this provider block is coming from. So that is right here. We go ahead and type in source. So again, like I mentioned earlier, you can literally just do Control and space, and it will show you the required things that you need to put in this. So right here, we need the source. And you ask you the value for the source. So again, if you go back to the documentation right here, it will show you where the source of Azure RM is coming from. So our source is coming from HashiCorp / Azure RM. So we literally just go right here, then where it says value, we type in the parentheses, then we type in HashiCorp / Azure RM, HashiCorp / Azure RM. Then after that, we do our enter. Then we still have one more required thing. So you see, that's the only thing that is left. So that is the last required thing that you need. Then you type in your versions. After you type in your versions, again, you need a value name. So for these video purposes, I'll use version maybe 3.0. So what I'll do is I'll have my tilde greater than 3.0. I can explain more on the versions, the signs of the versions. If you want me to, you can let me know and I'll go a little bit deeper on that. So after you do this, there is another required thing that you need to put in your Terraform, which is the provider, block. That is called a provider block. So this right here is called a Terraform block that we have right here. So this, it literally is what makes the Terraform to function. Then right here we have a provider block, and we already mentioned, so again, if you do the space and control right here, we do space control, it will give us the things that we need. So right here, if you see provider, they need to already like make the platform for you. So the provider, then it already has our name because we did specify it in the Terraform block. So we just pick our Azure RM. Then after that, it will have like final things that we need in this block. So in case in terms of Azure, we need a features block, and usually we just leave this open. We I like to keep my clause right here like that. Then there's a certain thing that I figured out recently. I still have to do probably more reading on it, but I figured that on the features, if I just leave it like this, whenever I run my Terraform init and all the commands, my resources would not actually populate in the environment until I specify the subscription. So what I like to do is have my subscription ID for the for my Terraform account. So I'll go right here, I'll specify my subscription ID. I'll obviously hide this away from you. Let me go get my ID. You don't want to keep this on the public, you want to hide this. So we go right here, you want to hide this, don't keep this on public. So after this, we have our versions complete. That's all, literally everything you need for your versions. Now we go to the fun part, which is in our main the main TF. This is where we're creating the actual resources that we want Terraform to deploy in our Azure. So we mentioned the versions TF, we mentioned everything. I mean, we mentioned the provider that we want Terraform to go and inquire for the resources. Now we're about to make the resources that we want to implement. So now we go into a main TF. Right, so in the main TF right here, we'll specify so all the resources in the main TF are governed by the resource name of what you're actually trying to create. So in this instance, let's say we just want to create an Azure resource group. Actually, before we go there, let's do this. So I'll go to my Azure portal account. Let me bring this over to you. So I'll go over here to my Azure portal account. So if I go in my Azure portal account, if I go in the, so this is my practice subscription, I do not have any resources like within. So if I go in my resource groups, there's literally nothing in this console currently, or in the resources, there's nothing. So if you're using the console, what you usually just do if you're trying to create a resource group is you literally just go to resource groups. Either you come right here, then you click this create, or from the overview you can just look up the resource that you want, which is resource groups. Then you populate that up for you, then you click into that, then it's the same thing. Or you can go right here, then create. So we'll hit create. Then what you would do is you pick the subscription that you want, then you specify the resource group name that you want. Let's say in this case, let's just call it RG2, and it will try to see, because this is supposed to be unique in your Azure account. So if you already have an RG2, like if there was like a little cursor right here, we just do a drop down and pick that RG2. So this RG2 is completely new and we want it in the East US region, which is good for me. Or you can go over here and pick what is closest to you or what makes sense to you. So I'll pick East US, then I'll go next to the tags. I don't need anything here. Then I'll do review and create. So after this validation passed, that means my Azure resource group is being created. So if I go back to if I go back over here, I need to go to my resource group. So if I go to my resource groups, oops, did I create that? I think I did not. Let me go back. Practice subscription, we need RG2. Then it's in East US. I'll do review and create. Validation passed, so we just have to wait for the validation to do that. Oh, I have to click create. Oh, don't be using the console so much, so that's what I'm forgetting. So right here to populate, you can either go to the resource or you can pin it to the dashboard. So if I go to resource, it will show us our RG2. So we now have a resource group called RG2. But imagine that you have to do this every single day, creating a resource group this way. Like, that's going to be tiring. Or if you have to create so many resource groups or so many resources, like if it's just one resource, I mean, it's easy, but the more resources you have to create, the more boring it becomes, or the more strenuous it becomes. So that's where Terraform comes in. So with the use of Terraform now, what we'll do is main.tf, again we can do control space, and it will show you right here. So now what we need is a resource. So it'll ask you, okay, so what's the resource name that you want? Again, if we go back to our documentation, it will show you all those things. So if we go back over here to our documentation, if we go right here, if we say resource group Azure Terraform, it will give you the documentation of what you need whenever you're creating your resource group. So right here, if you scroll down, it will give you a usage example. So the resource name, then Azure RM, which is the provider resource group. Then you give the name of the resource that you want. So every resource that you create in Terraform, there is required things and there is optional things that you can have. So if you scroll down over here, so you see that location is a required, name is required, but managed by, this is an optional, or tags, these are optional. Same thing as we did when we created the resources in our portal. The tags are optional. I didn't even put any tags. Then these are the attributes that you can add. You can put the ID of the resource group. You can create default united. So all these things, like, these are optional things that you can add up to your group, or you can just import the resource group. So in this case, we just want to stick to the basic because this is a basics video again. So what we do is just go back to our resource group, to our resource, then we specify what resource we're creating. So we say Azure RM. So right here to auto populate you with the things that are mostly created. So if you don't see it, you can literally just go underscore resource group. So right here it will show you, then you just click that, or you can just finish typing. So now see this thing just turned red. It's now red. It says main.tf is now red because there's things that we still need to put in this file that are not there. So if it's just like this main.tf will not work, right? So if I go right here, the name. So this is just a local name which only Terraform knows. So this name is only for Terraform, or the Terraform state file. That's the only thing that knows about this name, not your Azure account. So right here you just specify the local name that you want to put. Maybe let's say, just say it's RG11. Let's go RG11 right here. Then if we go to the next line, you just click enter. uh what did I do? If you just go to the next line, then again, if you do control space, it will show you what things that you can put over here. In this case, we have already seen that the two things that we need is name, and the next thing that we is the name for the resource, which we see again right here in the documentation. It will show you you need name and you need location. So we will leave that. Then we just go over here, we get our parentheses, we will specify the name. So now this is the name that your Azure account will, the name that you see in your Azure account. Like if we go back to our portal again on that resource that we created earlier, the RG2, this is the name that the Azure account knows, right? So if we go back over here, probably if I try to create, yeah, so in Azure you can only have like the names that are not conflicting. So I cannot create this again and tell it this is again RG2. So I have to create a unique name right here. Maybe I'll just say my Terraform underscore demo. So this is my Terraform demo. Then the next thing that I need, go enter. Then again, control space. I need my location. So if you remember in our versions.tf, we already specify a location somewhere. Nope, a lot. Oh no, I was thinking about the resource group that we created earlier. We had to put in a location for this resource. So it's the same thing for over here. You want to specify the location of the resource. So now we go over here, we just do the parentheses, then we specify where we want this to be at. I'll put it in East US. uh, and now if you check this file, it's now not red anymore. That means everything is nice and good. So after this, you're pretty much done if you're just creating this. So we'll go just right here, then we save our file. Make sure everything is saved, nice and saved. Go right here. Now, for us to be able to deploy these resources, we need a console. So now we just go right here. I mean, we need a terminal. So we'll open up, fire up your terminal. We'll fire up our terminal right here. Now in our terminal, so usually when you fire up the terminal, it's already in the directory that you're supposed to be working in. So supposedly it's not in the directory that you want to be working in. Uh, so say if it's just like in your main folder right here. So what you do is if you want to know where your file is stored, like on your local computer, so you have to go and see where this YouTube, what is this name called? You want to see where this YouTube Terraform demo folder is stored on your computer. That's the only way you're able to work this out. So, so because if I try to run anything in here, so the Terraform commands that we have that we need to use to implement our code is Terraform init. So if I'm right here, if I just run Terraform init, there's nothing to initialize, so it will tell you the directory is not Terraform configuration files. So there's literally nothing because I'm just in users one. There's nothing in that folder, so Terraform cannot initialize anything. So again, so now if you switch your directory to, so mine is in OneDrive, I believe. Then from OneDrive, I think it's in my desktop folder. So you can actually see the resources that you have if your resources are actually over there. So if I do dir, it'll show me like everything that I have and the folder that I need. So if I look over here, it says YouTube Terraform demo. So I know that it's in here. My directory is in over here. So let me just clear off the screen, make it clean. So I just see. Okay, I see what happened because I cannot name those things like that. I need to put it in parentheses. So I'll go parentheses forward slash backslash Terraform. Come on, Terraform. Come on, YouTube Terraform. It's called YouTube Terraform. If I do tab, I think nope. YouTube Terraform demo. YouTube Terraform demo backslash. Then I'll close the parentheses. Then we do enter. Nope. Okay, I'll just do a CD if I can find it. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. YouTube Terraform demo. I don't know what I messed up, but there we go. Now I'm in the YouTube Terraform demo. Maybe I was just writing the name wrong or something. I don't know. So now in my YouTube Terraform demo, if I do dir, I can now see that I have the Terraform manifest. So I have to again cd into this Terraform manifest because now I'm just in the generic folder, but I have another folder in my YouTube Terraform demo. So again, I have to cd into that Terraform. So here I think I can just do tab. Then I can get into the Terraform manifest. Whew. Okay, now we're in the Terraform manifest. If I do another dir, it should now show me the main.tf and the versions.tf, which is the files that we need for our Terraform implementation. So now the next thing on our list is to actually run these resources. So the way we run resources, there is what we call a Terraform workflow. So a Terraform workflow consists of a list of commands that you need to implement the resources in your cloud provider. So the workflow consists of the Terraform init, there is a Terraform validate, there is the Terraform plan, and there is the Terraform apply. So what the Terraform init literally does is if you go in your console, then you run your Terraform init, it will initialize the versions.tf. So it will go and call out all these things that you've created here, the Azure RM, and the version that you're trying to use, and it will take you to the right subscription that you have mentioned over here. Or the other thing that you can do if you're not trying to use this subscription ID is you have to make sure that you have your other thing that you oops, my mic is acting on. Come on. The other thing that you want to make sure of before you run any command is to actually make sure that you are actually connected to your Azure account. So the way you can do that is one, if you're not actually logged in, you can just run az login right here. Oh, come on. You can just run the command az login right here. Then if you have your az account, then right here to populate the az account that you need. But for me, I'm already logged in, so I don't need to do all this. So I'll just cancel this one out. So what I'll do is, if you're not sure you're logged in or not, you can just run az account show, I believe. Az account show will show you if you're logged into any az account. Come on, don't let me down. What's going on? Yep, so right here, and again, I'm going to block this part out. I cannot leave this part out. I have to block this tenant ID. I have to block my subscription ID. I have to block my home tenant ID. Right, so these are your resources. So for me, I'm already currently logged in, so I'll just clear up this screen. Now you start running your Terraform command. So now after you logged in, now again we'll initialize to make sure everything is lined up. So if you run Terraform init, so initialize, provide plugins, all this Terraform has been successfully initialized. You may now begin working with Terraform. So now our Terraform is completely initialized to our Azure account, right? So now from here, we will start doing the fun things. So you can run the Terraform validate to see if your code is actually working, but I know mine is probably working. So I will just go ahead over here, then I'll run my Terraform Terraform plan. So if I write my Terraform plan, or actually let's just run the Terraform validate. For the sake of this video, I'll run Terraform validate. So I'll run my Terraform validate. The configuration is valid. So what this just does is it will go check in everything that I've created from my versions TF and from my main TF to just make sure everything, like the code is in proper order and everything. Then if everything is good, then it just runs. Then after this, I just usually want to run the Terraform format. What the Terraform format does is it just fixes up your maybe your bracketing and all this stuff. So if I run Terraform format right here, see, it changed up my line to make sure everything is lined up, but that don't really matter. Then now from here, I'll run my Terraform plan. So what Terraform plan does is it's just telling you what your resources are going to create. So if I run Terraform plan right here, we just wait for it, and the Terraform plan and all these resources. So it just depends with your computer, with your provider, and all those things to tell you what's really how long it's going to take to create anything that's trying to create. So now if we check right here in our Terraform bar, there's now some stuff that has been created. We have a .terraform file, which is the license, the provider. We have the Terraform block HCL. I can explain more to you about these things in a later video. If you want, you can let me know. Then from here, now we look at our Terraform console, which is telling us exactly what is going on. So now if you go over here, the Terraform plan will perform the following. So this right here will tell you exactly what you're going to create before you create it. So one ID, none after apply, the location that is specified, which is our East US. Then the name is going to be Terraform demo. This is going to be our Azure name. Then the resource Azure RM RG11. So like I mentioned, this is just a local name, so this is not going to be seen in our
Azure account, then plan want to add, because we only have one resource, which is the Azure resource group. Then 0 to change, then 0 to destroy, because this is just a plan. So after this, we run our Terraform. Oops. We run our Terraform apply. So Terraform apply will literally apply the changes to the reward infrastructure, which is to our Terraform, to our Azure account. So this plan and all this stuff is just showing you what you're going to do in your Azure. But now when we do the Terraform apply, it's actually going to do the changes in the respective cloud provider that you're using. So if you run Terraform apply, so there's an option to do a Terraform apply auto approve, but for here we're just going to do the step by step so that we see exactly what's going on. So if you see, as soon as you click that, there is a Terraform state, which I mentioned earlier, the Terraform state file .tf state file. And what the Terraform.tf state file does is it just shows up what you unable to open and an error cat. Okay, that's fine. Why is it not opening? Terraform. Unable to read file generation. Okay, maybe because I haven't actually created the files yet, but we'll see after. Our so right here, so this is similar to the Terraform plan, but now you're just about to actually apply these resources. So what you do over here, it will tell you, do you want to perform this action? So it's asking you, do you actually want to perform this action to your Azure account? Then only yes will be accepted to approve. So for you to be able to approve, we just type in our yes, then we go, then we wait to see if everything is working. I'll be back when this is done. Okay, so that was quick. So Azure Resource Group creating, so it's telling you what it's doing. Apply complete resource, one add, 0 changed. So that means our resource has been created. So let's see if our Terraform state now opens. Okay, now it opens. So it was just not opening because we haven't done that. Okay, I'll obviously block this out. I mean, it doesn't really matter because I'm going to be taking this away. And the ID, I'm going to take this away too, so that's fine. So I'll just block out all the things that can actually point back to me. But other than that, now we go ahead and check in our why is this phone keep ringing? We go back over here, we check our resources. So if I go back in your home, in my practice subscription, I'll go to my resource group. So if you remember, we only had one resource. Now, boom, we have our Terraform demo created just like that. So imagine if you had so many resources to create, like virtual machines, storage accounts, databases, and all that. So what you only just have to do is literally just run a few lines of code. So if this code has been pre-saved, like I'm going to pre-save this code, that means next time when I come, I do not have to write this whole thing again. What I just have to do, instead of clicking around the buttons, is I'll just have to come in here again, run my Terraform init. Then after my Terraform init, I'll run my plan to see if everything is fine. Then boom, I'll run my Terraform apply. Then everything just like that is deployed back to your Azure, and just like that you have Azure resources instead of clicking around the console. So that's pretty much it for this video. Let me know if you want more resources to be created. I'll probably do like a lineup of adding in a little bit more resources. I'll add some variables to the next video and explain on the variables, then move on from there to see what else we can create. So, yep, we have our Terraform demo resource group created. Now, as I mentioned, I didn't forget for the I didn't forget for your beginner friendly tip. So the beginner friendly tip that can help you with your Terraform is one, always use version control when you're using your when you're writing your Terraform demo. What version control is you're using something like GitHub. So you store your code on GitHub, so it will automatically control your versions. And again, if you remember, I kept saying I'm going to block this, so avoid committing like confidential stuff onto the public, obviously.